Marin walked alone through the long, empty corridor of the research station. The lights above flickered every few seconds, casting strange shadows on the metallic walls. He had been repairing a broken oxygen regulator earlier, and now he was returning to the main sector. But somehow, his steps had led him into a part of the station he had never seen before. The station was large, built many years ago by humans who wanted to study the planet below. Most of its wings were rarely used, and some were even sealed off. Marin frowned as he checked the faded markings on the wall. He should not have been here, and yet something inside urged him to keep walking. The corridor grew darker as he moved forward. His boots echoed softly against the steel floor, and the sound of his own breathing filled his ears. For a moment, he thought he should turn back, but then he noticed something unusual. At the far end of the corridor stood a door that looked different from the others. Unlike the plain gray panels, this one was smooth, curved, and faintly glowing around the edges. Marin slowed his steps. His heart beat faster. He had never seen this design before. No human had placed such a door here. And then he saw her. A figure stepped out of the shadows near the strange door. At first, he thought his mind was playing tricks on him. She was tall, graceful, and unlike anyone he had ever met. Her features were not human, but there was something calm and familiar in her presence. Her skin carried a faint, soft tone, and her dark eyes glimmered as though holding centuries of memory within them. Marin froze. His throat felt dry. The woman, no, the alien looked directly at him. Their eyes met. It was not a hostile stare, nor one of fear. It was quiet, steady, and full of meaning he could not understand. For a long moment, neither moved. The silence of the corridor wrapped around them like a heavy blanket. Then, slowly, she raised her hand. With movements that seemed almost like flowing water, she pressed against the door behind her. The curved surface parted with a low hum, sliding open to reveal darkness beyond. She turned her gaze back to Marin. Her lips moved. The sound that came was soft, almost like a breath carried on the wind. "Inside," she whispered. Marin felt the word echo in his mind. It was spoken in no human tongue, yet somehow, he understood it clearly. The simplicity of it, the gentle tone, sent a shiver through him. He did not step forward immediately. His instincts warned him of danger. This could be a trap. But at the same time, curiosity burned within him. He had always been drawn to the unknown, to mysteries waiting in hidden corners of the universe. And this was the greatest mystery he had ever faced. He looked at the alien woman again. Her eyes did not waver. She waited with patience, as though she already knew he would follow. Marin's hand brushed against the communicator on his wrist. Should he call the station crew? Should he report this? Yet a part of him resisted. If he told others, they would lock this place down, maybe even seal the door forever. Something told him that whatever was beyond it, he was meant to see first. His footsteps echoed as he took one slow step forward. The air around the doorway felt colder, carrying a strange energy that prickled across his skin. The alien woman tilted her head slightly, watching him. "Who are you?" Marin asked, his voice low. She did not answer. Instead, she stepped into the doorway, the darkness behind her swallowing half her form. Her presence remained calm, her movements deliberate, as though she had no need to hurry. Marin's heart pounded harder. Every thought told him to be cautious, but his body carried him closer. The faint hum of the open doorway grew louder, vibrating through the walls. It was not just a door, it was something more, something not built by human hands. When he finally stood before it, the alien woman raised her hand again, gesturing lightly toward the darkness inside. Her whisper lingered in his ears. Inside, Marin hesitated one last time. Behind him stretched the silent corridor, safe but empty. Ahead of him waited a mystery wrapped in shadows and whispers. He drew in a deep breath. Then, slowly, he stepped past the glowing edge of the door, following the alien woman into the unknown. The doorway sealed behind them with a soundless motion, cutting off the corridor from view. The station outside felt like a different world now, far away and unimportant. For the first time in his life, Marin felt that he had crossed into something far greater than himself. Whatever waited inside would change everything. The door closed behind Marin with a soft hum, and for a moment, he felt the weight of silence pressing against his ears. The light of the corridor was gone, and now only a faint glow from the walls guided his steps. He blinked, letting his eyes adjust, and realized he was standing inside a vast chamber unlike anything built by humans. The walls were not made of metal panels but of smooth stone-like surfaces that curved and shimmered with faint markings. Symbols glowed gently across the walls, shifting like water ripples. They looked alive, as if the room itself was breathing. Marin's heart pounded faster. He had worked with machines all his life, repaired circuits, and studied human technology. But this was different. This was older, deeper, something that seemed to carry a story hidden for centuries. The alien woman walked ahead of him, her steps quiet and graceful. She did not look back, but Marin felt that she knew exactly where he was. Her calm presence gave him a strange sense of safety, though his mind was still racing with questions. "Where is this?" Marin whispered, though he knew she might not understand him. The woman stopped near the center of the chamber. She turned, and her dark eyes met his once again. Slowly, she raised her hand and pointed toward the floor. Marin stepped closer. The floor beneath her shimmered, revealing a circular platform. Strange lines and shapes formed patterns across it. At first, it looked like decoration, but as he looked longer, he realized it was more than that. It was a map. Stars. Galaxies. Pathways between them. The glowing lines stretched outward, forming routes and clusters. His breath caught in his throat. He recognized the shape of his own star system at the edge of the map. But the rest was unknown, vast, and endless. "This," Marin whispered to himself. "This is a star chart." The woman tilted her head slightly, as though she understood his realization. She touched one of the glowing lines, and immediately the room responded. The walls shifted with brighter light, projecting images around them. Marin's eyes widened as he saw planets, suns, and distant worlds floating like ghosts in the air. He reached out instinctively, though his hand passed through the light. It felt unreal, like a dream given shape. The woman spoke for the first time since her whisper at the door. Her voice was soft, carrying an echo that seemed to blend with the chamber itself. Marin could not understand the words, but the tone carried weight. She pointed again, this time at a symbol near the center of the map. The symbol pulsed with light. Around it, the glowing roots converged, as if it were the heart of the network. Marin swallowed hard. "A gateway," he murmured. The thought struck him suddenly. Could this be a way to travel? The woman nodded slightly, as though confirming his guess without needing words. Marin stepped back, his mind spinning. If this was true, if humans had discovered a technology that could link worlds instantly, it would change everything. No more years of travel between stars. No more isolation. Humanity could step into the galaxy in ways never imagined. But then a chill touched his thoughts. Why was this hidden? Why was she showing him this and not anyone else? "Why me?" he asked aloud, though again he expected no answer. The woman's gaze lingered on him. Her expression carried a mix of calmness and something heavier, sorrow, perhaps. She lifted her hand, placing it gently over her chest, then extended it toward him, as if to say, "You understand. You see what others do not." Marin felt the meaning even without words. Still, unease twisted in his stomach. If this chamber had been hidden all this time, then others must be searching for it. Secrets like this did not remain safe forever. And if the wrong hands found it, the power of such a gateway could destroy as much as it could unite. His thoughts were interrupted by a sudden sound. A deep vibration trembled through the floor. The glowing lights flickered. Somewhere in the distance, the faint hum of the station shifted. Marin stiffened. What was that? The alien woman's eyes narrowed. She turned sharply toward one wall of the chamber, as if she could sense something beyond it. Her calm expression changed for the first time, replaced by concern. The vibration came again, stronger this time. Dust fell from the ceiling, and the star map dimmed. Marin's communicator buzzed faintly at his wrist, catching a broken signal. Unidentified ship in orbit, weapons lock detected. Marin's breath caught. An enemy ship? Who could it be? He turned back to the woman. She stood tall, her expression hard now. For the first time, Marin saw fear hidden behind her eyes. Others are coming, he whispered. The woman nodded once. She pressed her hand against the wall, and a hidden panel opened, revealing strange devices inside. They glowed faintly, their shapes unlike any human machine. She looked at him, waiting. Marin realized the truth then. This was no simple discovery. He had walked into something far larger than himself, something that others would fight to possess. And the alien woman had chosen him, of all people, to see it first. The chamber was no longer just a secret. It was a responsibility. Marin felt a shiver run down his spine. His quiet life as an engineer was gone. Whatever came next, he was standing at the center of it. And the whisper that had led him here still echoed in his ears. Inside. The vibration of the floor grew stronger, and Marin felt his chest tighten. He had been in orbit long enough to recognize the sound of trouble. Ships firing weapons in space did not sound like thunder, but the faint tremors through the station's walls told him all he needed to know: someone was testing their firepower nearby. The alien woman, Nira as he now guessed her name from the soft sound she had spoken earlier, remained steady. Her eyes followed the glowing lines on the wall. The star map had dimmed, but it still pulsed faintly, as if waiting for a command. Marin's communicator flickered again, the voice breaking through in fragments. Unknown warship, warning shots, all hands prepare. His stomach sank. Whoever was out there, they were not simply passing by. They were here for a reason. Marin looked at Nira. They're looking for you, aren't they? She turned toward him slowly. Her face remained calm, but her silence was answer enough. The chamber around them felt alive, every wall humming with quiet energy. Marin forced himself to breathe evenly, though his heart hammered in his chest. He was just an engineer, not a soldier. His work was supposed to be fixing broken panels, not facing down enemy ships. And yet here he was, standing in a room that carried the secrets of the galaxy, with a woman who wasn't even human. The floor trembled again, sharper this time. One of the glowing symbols on the wall flickered. Dust drifted down from above, and the star map grew unstable. Nira raised her hand, pressing her palm against the wall. The chamber steadied at once, as if it listened only to her. Marin stared in awe. She was connected to this place in a way no human could be. The silence between them broke when the communicator on his wrist sparked alive once more. Marin. Where are you? The station is under alert. There's a hostile cruiser in orbit. Report back now. It was the voice of Commander Varen, sharp and impatient. Marin hesitated. Should he tell him the truth? Should he reveal what he had found, who he had found? His lips parted, but the weight of Nira's eyes stopped him. She was not begging, but there was trust there, trust that he would not betray her. I'm in one of the sealed wings, Marin replied carefully. I'll make my way back soon. Do it fast, the commander snapped. We don't have much time. The signal cut out. Marin sighed, running a hand over his face. They'll search every part of the station soon. They'll find this place. Nira tilted her head, then pointed toward the devices hidden in the wall. Their shapes glowed faintly, smooth and curved like the door she had first opened. She pressed one gently, and it lit up brighter. A soft hum filled the chamber. Marin stared. "What are you doing?" She looked at him, her expression unreadable. Then she gestured toward the ceiling. Marin followed her gaze. For a brief moment, the walls changed, displaying the blackness of space above them. And there, cutting across the stars, was a massive shadow. The warship. It was larger than the station itself, shaped like a blade of metal, its surface bristling with weapons. The sight made Marin's stomach twist. Whoever commanded that ship wasn't here to negotiate. "They want this," Marin whispered, nodding toward the star map. "They want the gateway." Nira gave the smallest of nods. Marin's breath grew heavy. His thoughts spun with fear, but also with something else, a spark of determination. If the enemy ship found the chamber, everything would be lost. Humanity would not be ready for such power in hostile hands. And somehow, for reasons he didn't fully understand, he felt responsible. He looked back at Nira. "We can't let them find it. We have to hide it. Or protect it." Her expression softened, as if she had been waiting for him to say those very words. The chamber lights shifted again, responding to her touch. New symbols lit up across the floor, glowing brighter. Marin crouched, studying them. They were like circuits, a network of energy. His mind, trained from years of fixing human machines, began to piece it together. "This is a control system," he murmured. "Like a shield. Or a lock." Nira's lips curved into the faintest smile. She reached out and placed her hand over his, guiding it toward the glowing lines. Together, they pressed against the pattern. At once, the chamber vibrated, and the star map dimmed completely, folding itself into silence. The lights along the walls faded until the room looked like an empty cavern. To any outsider, it would appear abandoned, just stone and dust. Marin stepped back, his eyes wide. "It's hidden." Nira nodded. Her eyes lingered on him, calm and steady, before she whispered a single word. "Safe." Marin let out a shaky laugh. "For now." But he knew the danger was far from over. The warship outside would not give up easily. And sooner or later, the humans on the station would notice his absence, his silence. For now, though, the chamber was hidden. The secret remained theirs. Still, Marin could not escape the feeling that the galaxy had just grown larger around him. He glanced at Nira once more. "Whatever happens," he said quietly, "we'll face it together." Her eyes glimmered faintly, and though she gave no reply, the silence between them spoke louder than words. Far above, the enemy ship circled the station like a predator waiting for its prey. The true test had only just begun. The station shuddered again, this time harder than before. Marin grabbed the side of the chamber wall to steady himself. A distant alarm wailed through the metal structure, echoing faintly into the hidden room. Somewhere above, he knew, the crew was scrambling to respond to the enemy warship circling outside. Nira's calm expression didn't change, but Marin could see the tension in her eyes. She touched one of the stone-like walls, and the chamber dimmed further, sinking into silence as though it were holding its breath. Marin exhaled slowly. "They're not just warning us anymore," he said. "That was a real strike. They'll destroy the station if they don't get what they want." The alien woman turned to him, her dark eyes steady. She raised her hand, pressing her fingers to her chest before pointing at the ceiling, where the vision of the enemy warship had appeared earlier. "You," Marin whispered, piecing it together. "They're after you. And this place." Nira gave the smallest nod. The weight of it settled on him like a stone. His mind raced. The chamber was hidden for now, but the station wasn't built for war. If the cruiser decided to open fire, there would be little anyone could do. His communicator buzzed sharply, the voice of Commander Varen breaking through again. All personnel, prepare for boarding. Enemy craft deploying smaller ships. Defend critical sectors. Marin's stomach turned. Boarding meant soldiers would sweep the corridors, searching every corner. It would only be a matter of time before they found the strange door. He looked back at Nira. We need to move. But Nira shook her head. She stepped closer to the star map's dormant circle on the floor, her hand brushing over its dark surface. The chamber stirred faintly, as though it waited for her command. She looked at Marin and spoke in her soft, echoing voice. Protect. Marin frowned. Protect what? This. He pointed toward the map. The gateway. She nodded once. Marin rubbed his face. His whole life had been about fixing things, about making broken machines work again. He wasn't trained for this, wasn't trained to protect alien technology that could change the galaxy. But as he looked at her, standing calm even as danger closed in, something inside him shifted. All right, he said quietly. Then we protect it? But I'll need tools. Nira tilted her head, watching as he scanned the chamber walls. Strange panels hummed faintly, and hidden conduits ran across the stone-like floor. Marin crouched, tracing one of the glowing lines with his fingers. The design was alien, but the function it reminded him of power grids, control circuits. This is like a machine, he murmured. A living machine. His communicator sparked again, another message flooding in. Marin. Report your position. Commander Varen barked. We have boarders inside the lower wings. They'll cut through the bulkhead soon. Get out of there. Marin hesitated. If he told the commander where he was, soldiers would storm the chamber. They'd see Nira. They'd see the gateway. Fear would take over, and the first reaction would be to destroy or lock it down. He pressed his wrist lightly, muting the communicator. For a moment, guilt pricked his chest. He had always obeyed orders, always respected the chain of command. But now, he couldn't. Not when he had seen what was inside this room. A sudden noise made him stiffen. From beyond the sealed door came the faint, metallic thud of boots. Soldiers. They were getting closer. Marin looked at Nira urgently. They'll find us. We need to do something now. Nira's eyes glimmered as she pressed both hands to the star map. The floor lit up, brighter than before, symbols flaring to life. A low hum filled the chamber. The air seemed to thicken, charged with energy. Marin stepped back in awe. What are you doing? The walls shifted, showing visions of the station above them. He saw humans running through corridors, alarms flashing red. Then the image moved, showing alien soldiers forcing their way inside. They carried strange weapons, their armor gleaming under the station lights. Marin's breath caught. He had never seen soldiers like these. They were taller than humans, their movements sharp and coordinated. They weren't here to negotiate, they were hunters. The vision faded, and the chamber fell silent again. Nira's face was calm, but her voice carried quiet urgency. Danger, she said softly. Then she placed her hand over her chest again and looked directly at him. You. Marin's chest tightened. He understood. She was telling him he had a role here. She wasn't the one to fight this battle, not alone. He looked down at the glowing circuits, the alien patterns across the floor. Slowly, an idea formed in his mind. If this place is a machine, he said, then maybe I can reroute its power. Hide it better. Or even, shield it. Nira tilted her head, watching carefully. Then, almost like a teacher, she extended her hand and pointed to a sequence of glowing lines. Marin crouched, studying it closely. It wasn't human engineering, but he recognized the rhythm energy flowing, redirected through channels. He could work with this. He took a deep breath. All right. Let's try. His hands moved quickly, guided by instinct and years of repairing machines. He pressed against the lines, adjusting their flow. At first, nothing happened. Then, slowly, the chamber responded. The glow dimmed until the room looked like nothing more than an empty cave. From outside, heavy boots echoed closer. Shouts rang through the corridor. The soldiers were nearly at the door. Marin's chest pounded. "Please work," he whispered. The door vibrated as someone on the other side struck it. A harsh metallic clang rang out. But the wall held. To the soldiers, it would appear as nothing but solid bulkhead, with no entrance at all. Inside, Marin exhaled in relief. It's hidden. Nira's lips curved faintly, the closest thing to a smile he had seen from her. But the relief was short-lived. The vibrations through the station walls grew stronger. The enemy warship was preparing for more than boarding. Marin swallowed hard. The battle for the station and for the gateway was only beginning. Marin leaned against the smooth wall of the hidden chamber, sweat running down his temples. His hands trembled slightly, not from fear of the alien technology, but from the knowledge that danger was no longer only outside. Somewhere in the station, humans were moving through the corridors, searching, shouting, and making decisions that could destroy everything. Nira stood beside him, calm and composed, but Marin could see her eyes flick toward the door every few seconds. She knew the humans would come eventually. "They'll find us," Marin said quietly. Nira nodded, her gaze steady. She moved her hand over the glowing circuits in the floor, checking the patterns, adjusting the flow of energy. The chamber's light shifted, hiding the secret room even more from prying eyes. But hiding would only last so long. From beyond the heavy door, muffled voices carried through the metal walls. Marin recognized some of the tones. Commander Varen and a few senior officers were moving closer. Their steps echoed, steady and confident, as if they had no doubts about what they were about to do. Marin's communicator buzzed faintly. He ignored it, knowing that calling back would only give them instructions that might betray Nira. A sudden sound made him freeze, the distinct hiss of a door sliding open nearby. Through a narrow vent, Marin glimpsed the first pair of humans entering the wing. They were armed and cautious, scanning every corner. But it wasn't just caution, it was suspicion. They were looking for the hidden chamber, and once they found it, who knew what they might do? "Marin," whispered a familiar voice, and he recognized Officer Jalen, a young, ambitious member of the station crew. "We need to get out of here." Marin's heart skipped. He shook his head. "No. We can't leave. Not yet." Jalen's eyes narrowed. "Why not? Don't you see? This thing isn't ours. You can't trust her." Marin felt a stab of frustration. "She's not a threat. She saved this place from being discovered." Jalen stepped closer to the vent, his hand hovering over a communicator. "You don't understand. If the enemy gets this, or if we fail to control it, it could destroy us. We have to report it." Marin's jaw tightened. "Reporting it will destroy it? You don't know what you're saying." At that moment, the vent door gave a faint creak. Another officer, older and stern, appeared, shining a flashlight. Their eyes locked onto Nira's glowing presence as she adjusted the chamber. "There," the officer shouted. "Commander Varen, we've found her." Marin froze. His heart raced as he saw the humans preparing to force their way inside. Their weapons were raised, and their faces were set with determination. They were no longer uncertain, they were ready to capture, or worse. Nira turned toward him, her eyes steady but with a faint glimmer of concern. She whispered softly, though the words felt like a wave washing over Marin's thoughts, "Trust human courage. Marin swallowed hard. The words carried reassurance, but he knew courage alone might not be enough. They needed strategy. He stepped forward, raising his voice. "Stop." The officers hesitated. Marin moved quickly, explaining in rapid, calm words. "This isn't just an alien intruder. She's protecting something far greater than us. The gateway, if it falls into the wrong hands, it could destroy entire civilizations." The younger officer, Jalen, scowled. "And we're supposed to just trust her?" "Yes," Marin said firmly. "Because right now, she is the only one who can protect it. I've seen what she can do. If you try to take her by force, you'll destroy everything." There was a tense pause. The older officer's hands tightened on his weapon. His face hardened, a mix of fear and duty. He had always followed orders, and now his orders conflicted with what he saw. Finally, Jalen made a move. He pressed a button on his wrist communicator, signaling the rest of the team. Marin's stomach dropped. "Stop," he shouted again, but it was too late. The signal went through. Nero moved swiftly, raising her hands. The chamber responded instantly. Lights flickered, panels shifted, and the floor's glowing patterns became a blur. The walls seemed to close slightly, creating an illusion that the room had vanished. The humans outside staggered, confusion and surprise flashing in their eyes. Marin grabbed Jalen's arm. "You see now? Don't force it. If you break this, nothing survives." Jalen's face hardened, but slowly, he lowered his communicator. His eyes met Marin's. "Fine, but we can't stay silent forever." Marin nodded. "I know. For now, we survive. That's what matters." The older officer gave a reluctant nod. His face was tight with worry, but he stepped back, motioning for the others to fall in line. Marin exhaled sharply. He felt his knees weaken slightly. The chamber was safe for now. But the betrayal had shown him just how fragile trust could be. Even among humans, fear and suspicion could lead to disaster. Nero looked at him, her dark eyes calm again. She placed a hand on the glowing floor. The circuits shimmered softly. Marin felt a strange warmth, as though the chamber itself was reassuring him. "Thank you," he whispered. Nero inclined her head. The hum of the room was quiet again. Outside, the distant sounds of alarms and boots continued, but inside the hidden chamber, for a moment, there was calm. Marin knew it would not last. The enemy warship was still in orbit. Humans might still turn against them. But for now, they had survived betrayal and discovered that courage, trust, and quick thinking could protect even the greatest secrets. He glanced at Nero once more. "We can't stop now. We have to be ready for what comes next." Her eyes glimmered faintly, and without words, he knew she agreed. The battle for the gateway and the survival of something far greater than themselves was far from over. Marin stood in the center of the hidden chamber, his palms pressed against the smooth, glowing floor. The hum of energy pulsed beneath his fingers, vibrating with a rhythm he had never felt in any human machine. Beside him, Nero moved gracefully, touching panels and adjusting the alien circuits with precise motions. Every movement she made seemed to communicate with the room itself. The distant alarm from the station still echoed faintly through the walls. The humans outside were regrouping, some still wary after the encounter in the previous wing, while the warship above loomed like a dark cloud over the planet. Marin's heart raced, but this time, it was not only fear, it was determination. "We can't just hide anymore," Marin said, glancing at Nero. "If the enemy attacks again, this chamber won't last. We have to act." Nero's eyes glimmered. She pointed to the glowing circuits under the floor. Marin understood. The room itself was a tool, a powerful, living machine. If they could use it wisely, they could defend the chamber and the gateway without firing a single shot. Marin knelt, studying the patterns. It's like a network, he whispered. Energy flows through these lines. If I redirect it, I might be able to create a shield, or at least a distraction. Nira nodded. She moved closer and guided his hands over certain sequences. Together, they traced the circuits, rerouting power from the dormant parts of the chamber to the outer walls. Slowly, a soft glow began to spread, covering the entire floor and extending into the walls like ripples on water. Marin could feel the energy responding to him, reacting to every decision he made. He adjusted here, nudged there, following the pattern Nira had indicated. The chamber hummed louder, and a subtle vibration shook the floor beneath them. Outside, the sounds of soldiers moving through the corridors grew nearer. The humans still searching had no idea the hidden chamber was alive, ready to respond to them. Marin's hands moved faster. Almost there, he whispered. Just a little more. Nira's fingers hovered above the glowing lines, stabilizing the energy where it flickered. The circuits pulsed in response to their combined effort. Light spilled across the walls in waves, creating patterns that seemed alive, almost like living constellations. And then it happened. A beam of energy shot from the walls, projecting a holographic image across the corridor outside the chamber. Soldiers froze, staring at the sudden illusion. The chamber created copies of itself, doors, and walls that did not exist, confusing everyone who approached. Marin stepped back, breathless, and watched as the humans outside hesitated. Their sensors went haywire, showing multiple entrances, multiple chambers, but none of them real. It's working, he said, his voice tight with excitement. We're invisible. Nira smiled faintly. Her dark eyes reflected the glowing patterns on the floor. She placed her hand on his shoulder gently, as if acknowledging his ingenuity. Marin realized in that moment that the human mind, combined with her ancient knowledge, had created something neither of them could have done alone. But the warship above would not wait. A sudden tremor shook the chamber, stronger than any before. Marin stumbled, gripping the wall. Through the ceiling panels, he saw faint flashes, energy beams from the enemy ship striking the station. We have to protect the gateway, he said urgently. If the ship breaches the station, everything is lost. Nira nodded. She guided Marin's hands to the central circle on the floor, the heart of the star map. He pressed his palms against it, feeling the flow of power rush into him, not painfully, but as if it were alive and aware. The star map responded instantly, projecting a soft blue shield around the chamber. Marin felt an incredible surge of energy. He could sense the flow of power throughout the station, and with Nira's guidance, he began redirecting it, forming barriers in key corridors to block intruders. Outside, the enemy warship fired again, but the station seemed to shrug off the attacks. Energy pulses reflected the beams, sending them harmlessly into space. The humans who had been searching froze in awe, realizing that some force, something alive, was defending the station. Marin looked at Nira, his heart pounding with relief and excitement. We did it, he said. We actually did it. She inclined her head, her dark eyes meeting his. No words were necessary. Together, they had turned the tide. The chamber was safe, the gateway protected, and for the first time, Marin truly felt the power of human ingenuity combined with an understanding of something far greater than himself. But he also knew this was only the beginning. The enemy would not give up easily, and the humans on the station were still wary of Nira. They had witnessed her power, but not her intentions. The next challenge would be proving that humanity could rise to the occasion, that courage and cleverness could overcome fear and suspicion. Marin straightened, determination burning in his chest. We bought time, he said. And we'll use it. They can't stop us. Not now. Nira's lips curved faintly in approval. Together, they turned back to the star map, tracing the lines of energy and pathways through the galaxy. Marin realized that this moment was more than survival, it was a promise. humanity, resourceful and brave, could face the unknown and shape the future. And for the first time, he felt that the galaxy was theirs to explore, not with fear, but with courage. The days after the Great Hall ceremony were full of change. The news that Ila, the noble of Vera, had chosen Kale, a human, spread quickly through the clans and beyond. Some were curious, others doubtful, but many were hopeful. It was clear that something new was beginning. Ila and Kale now lived in the heart of the Vera city, a place filled with tall buildings made of shining metal and glowing crystals. It was beautiful and strange to Kale, who had never seen such colors or shapes before. But he felt at home here, because Ila was by his side. Every morning, they walked through the city together. People watched them, some with smiles, some with surprise, but all with respect. The clans were starting to accept the idea that a human could stand with them, not as a stranger, but as a partner. One morning, Ila and Kale visited the Council of Elders. The elders were wise leaders who guided the clans with great care. They wanted to hear how Kale was adjusting to life on Vera. Kale spoke honestly. "This world is different from my own," he said. "But I want to learn and help. I want to understand your customs and your people. Together, we can make things better." The elders nodded slowly. "You have shown respect and patience," one said. "That is important. We will help you both." As days passed, Kale and Ila worked together to bring the clans closer. They organized meetings where different groups shared ideas and stories. They encouraged trade between the clans and even with human settlements on nearby planets. Slowly, walls of mistrust began to crumble. One evening, as the twin moons rose over the city, Ila and Kale stood on a balcony overlooking the glowing streets below. The air was cool, filled with the soft hum of life. Ila looked at Kale. "When I first met you, I never imagined we would be here," she said. "You changed everything, not with power, but with kindness." Kale smiled. "I learned from you, too. You showed me strength comes in many forms." Suddenly, a message arrived from a distant human space station. Kale's people wanted to meet the leaders of Vera's clans and learn about the new alliance. This was a moment of opportunity and risk. At the next council meeting, Kale and Ila shared the news. "Our worlds can grow closer," Kale said. "But we must be careful and respectful." The elders agreed, but warned, not all will welcome change. There will be challenges. True to their words, soon a group of traditionalists spoke out. They feared losing their old ways and power. They warned against trusting humans and outsiders. Ila stood firm. "Change is not easy," she said. "But if we stay afraid, we lose our chance to be stronger. We must move forward together." Kale added, "We are different, yes. But those differences can bring new ideas and strength. We must listen and learn from each other." Some clan members nodded, their faces thoughtful. The debate was difficult but honest. Over time, many came to see the truth in Ila's words. The alliance between humans and the Vera clans grew stronger. One day, Ila and Kale visited a school where young aliens and human children learned side by side. They laughed and shared stories, their eyes bright with hope. Ila knelt beside a child with blue skin. "What do you want to be when you grow up?" she asked. The child smiled shyly. "I want to explore space and find new friends." Kale placed a hand on her shoulder gently. "That is a wonderful dream. And it can come true." Looking around at the children, Ila felt a deep sense of peace. The future was uncertain, but full of promise. As time passed, Ila and Kale faced many challenges from politics to old fears, but they always stood together. Their bond was not just about love, but about building a future where different beings could live in harmony. One evening, back on the balcony, Kale looked at the stars. "We came from very different worlds," he said softly. "But now, we are part of the same story." Ela nodded. And our story will inspire others, across galaxies. The twin moons shone brightly above them. The city below hummed with life and hope. Together, they had begun a new chapter, a story of courage, friendship, and unity. A story that proved that even in the vastness of space, hearts could connect, and worlds could come together.